Hello everyone, you are welcome back to this video. Now in this video I'm going to discuss about the writing task 1 of academic module. Now I haven't made a video yet, a detailed video for writing task 1 on academic. Now this is the video that I'm making on the demand of students. I've been receiving a lot of messages from the students who are taking the academic exam. So I'll try my best that in the next 10 or 12 days, I'll put up at least 6 to 7 videos on writing task 1, and I'll try to discuss all the different types of task 1. So before taking up a question and discussing it, let's discuss some of the aspects and the main points that you must remember when you are writing your writing task 1 of IELTS academic. The first thing to remember is that you must not exceed 200 words in any case or in any situation. Your maximum time limit is 20 to 25 minutes, although you get 1 hour to complete both the tasks, but you must not spend more than 20-25 minutes on task 1, and you mustn't exceed the word limit of 200 words. So what is the perfect word limit? Around 170, 80, 190 is the perfect word limit for task 1. You must also keep in mind that you must write a minimum of 150 words, because if you don't write 150 words, there will be a deduction in your IELTS band score. So the perfect limit is somewhere around 160, 70, 80 or even 190, but not more than that. Now, when it comes to number of paragraphs, you always make 4 paragraphs when it comes to writing task 1. Now, there are exceptions. There are some combination graphs or some of the map tasks that do not require a 4th para. We'll come on to that later, but for now, you will just note down this theory of making 4 paragraphs. The first one is always the introduction. The second para is the overall or the overview. The third one is main body para, and the fourth one is the closing. So you can clearly see here that I've also mentioned the approximate number of words to use in these paragraphs. So you can just take a screenshot and then you can work on it afterwards. So these were the main aspects that you must keep in mind. Now when it comes to the format, so there are certain things to keep in mind. The first one is the alignment of each paragraph. So when you start writing your task 1 or the essay of IELTS, whether it is general training or it is academic, you must always keep the alignment on the left hand side. That means you start your paragraph like this from the left hand side. Do not leave a space like this. This will be wrong. No space. Your alignment should stick to the left hand side, and alignment for each para should be on the left hand side. Whenever you start a new para, again the alignment should stick to left hand side. Do not leave space in the line when you start a para. The next one, always use pencil for your writing tasks, whether it is general training, academic, whether it is essay or letter or data interpretation, any task, you must always use pencil. The reason being, it can be easily rubbed if you make an error, and if you write with pen, it can be a great mistake. So avoid that mistake. Do not use a pen. Always use a pencil to write your writing tasks. The third one is, when you start a new para, then you must always leave a line between a para. Like this was my para, and I will leave a line. I will always leave a line. Just need to leave a single line. That's it. Only a single line. No gaps whatsoever in the alignment. The alignment should always stick on the left hand side. There should be only gap between the line. That's it. Now the next aspect is of handwriting. Now you don't get extra band score when you write beautifully, but if you don't write beautifully and if there are mistakes in your certain alphabets, then definitely there can be a deduction in your marks. I repeat again, there are no extra marks for beautiful handwriting, but by writing beautifully, you are avoiding the deduction in marks that occurs due to untidy writing. So I repeat again, when you write your tasks, always keep in mind that your alphabets are in the right place. If some of your alphabets are not put the way they must be put, then the examiner can think it of as a spelling error. Then your marks will be cut. The last aspect to keep in mind is using synonyms. I'll make a separate video that will have a very long list of synonyms. It will be coming soon in a couple of days, so you can go through that. The synonyms which can be used in writing task 1. I'll just give you a very small example. Like, we write the value increase, right? We use it that the value in 2017 increased by 12%. So instead of repeating increase again and again, I can write escalate, I can write boom, I can write rise, I can write there was an increment, there was an incline. So instead of repeating increase again and again, you can use these words. So don't worry, I'll make a separate video, and it will be a very long video, and I'll explain you each and every synonym that can be used in writing task 1. So these are 4 aspects that you must always keep in mind. You can take a screenshot. You can take a screenshot by pausing the video and keep these points in your mind while you writing task 1. Now I will discuss a small example with you according to this format. Now if you can clearly see, this is a bar chart in which we have a male and a female category, and on the left hand side this chart shows the time, the leisure time spent by or enjoyed by men and women of different employment status. So this is the time. Now this is a time, hours in a week, and these are the different categories of men and women: employed full-time, employed part-time, unemployed, retired, and housewives. Now the blue is for male and green is for female. So as I told you that the introduction should be of 20 to 30 words. So what you need to do is you just need to look at the figure thoroughly, and then you can make an introduction. So you can write the graph depicts. So instead of writing shows, I've written depicts. The graph depicts the number of hours spent by male and female of different employment categories in a week. That's it. Only 2 lines. It should be very straightforward, and it should only be a heading of your writing task 1. So once you write the introduction, your next para is the overall. Now overall and overview is by a large number of students misrepresented, because they think that overall can be only written in the end. It's not like that. Overall and overview means that you are just summarizing the whole graph. So when you summarize the whole graph at the start, and the examiner is very comfortable in understanding what you need to make, what the points you are going to show, and what is your intention towards the task. So you achieve your task by mentioning the overall at the beginning. So the first para will be the introduction, the second is overall. So in overall, you must always keep in mind that you never give figures. What do I mean by figures? These figures. You cannot simply write that men who were full-time employed spend around 45 hours of leisure time. No, that is wrong. You cannot use figures in your overall. So how you can write? In your overall, you must keep 2 things in mind. The first one, no figures. The second one, you must try to explain the whole graph in 3 lines. So how can you do that? It looks difficult, but it is indeed very, very simple. So you just need to make out some differences, and you just need to look for the distinguishedness in the graph. So here I can see a distinctive feature, that employed part-time category has only women, no men in that. And in housewives as well, there is only female and no men. So most people who had most number of hours in a week were unemployed and retired. So I've taken out the main points, the main things from the paragraph. So I will write my overall like this, that it can be clearly seen in the graph that unemployed and retired men and women, I am repeating it again, in the overview it can be clearly seen that the unemployed retired men and women had the most number of hours of leisure time. Now I've only said most. By most I means more than others. I will not mention figure in the overall. So I've only written most amount of leisure time was enjoyed by unemployed and retired men and women. And there was no men in the categories employed part-time and housewives. That's it. So I have spoken about 4 out of 5 categories. So that means I have almost covered 80 or 90% of the task in my overall, and I've used only 2 lines, and I have not even mentioned a single figure. So this is how you write overall. So in a separate video I'll be discussing only the overalls for these sort of tasks, right? So is it clear? So let's move ahead. The next part is going to be the main para. So in main para you have to mention each and everything, and the 4th para is closing. So in closing you can leave a single category for the closing of the task, or you can leave a single type of distinguishedness that you can see in the graph. So if I want to point out an unusual thing in the graph, then it is the housewives and employed part-time, because there are no men. So I'll keep these 2 categories for the closing of the task, and these 3 categories will be discussed in the main paragraph, where I also need to give figures. So I will start like this. It can be clearly seen that employed men enjoyed around 45 hours of leisure time in a week, whereas in the same category the women were enjoyed 10 hours less than men. So this is how I need to write. And in the next category, which is the unemployed, again men were able to enjoy more leisure time than women. The men enjoyed around 85 hours of leisure time, whereas the women enjoyed less than 80 hours of leisure time in a week. And in the next category, similar trend was seen in retired category, where men enjoyed more than 80 and women were again less than 80, who enjoyed less than 80 hours of leisure time. So this will be my main para. I will mention each and every figure using each and every category, but I have left these 2 categories, employed part-time and housewives. Now I will start my 4th para, and in the last I can say that in the end there were categories like housewives and employed part-time in which there were no men, or no men could enjoy leisure time. There were only females. In an employed category they enjoyed 40 hours, and in housewives category they enjoyed 50 hours of leisure time. So this is how you construct a writing task 1. I'm going to repeat it again in a brief, that when you start your writing task 1, you're going to make 4 paragraphs: introduction, overall, main para and closing. So in the introduction you only need to give the heading for the task. Only 2 lines are more than enough. In overall you must keep 2 things in mind. Do not use figures in overall, and you should try to use at least 80 or 90% of the information given in the task in your overall, and don't write more than 2, 3 or 4 lines in the overall. In the main category you will describe in the main para you will describe most of the categories, leaving behind 1 or 2 unusual categories to end the task. So while ending the task in the fourth paragraph, the one categories that you have left, either one or two, you will write those categories in the closing section. So what happens is, when we make 4 paragraphs, the examiner will find your task very clear. So if he or she finds your task very clear, lucid, then there are more chances for you to get full score in your writing task 1, because each and everything is given in front of you. You just need to elaborate the information. So by making 4 paragraphs, you are making distinctions of the paragraphs, and the examiner will know that what you are trying to write in each of the paragraph. So the introduction is the heading, overall is the overall crux of the task 1. Main para, you are describing most of the categories, and in the ending you are describing the unusual categories. So this is how you write a writing task 1, and this was the example of bar graph. Stay tuned, very soon I'm going to make some more videos on task 1, pie charts, line graphs, maps, every sort of task. So you just need to wait for a couple of days, and one by one I'll be posting those videos. And do not forget to like this video, do not forget to subscribe this channel. This gives me immense motivation to make videos every day and post onto my page. Also like our page on Facebook and join our group for latest free material and free guidance on IELTS. This is Darshan Singh signing out. Until we meet the next time. Bye bye.